tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Everybody, welcome to the season premiere of The Ultimate Fighter Season 22. 2 hours extravaganza tonight.
I am a warrior.
Everybody's fired up here in the studio, as you can hear.
Now the show can
Suri
start.
Serano, and let me introduce you, my very rowdy co-host. To my left, Jared Gilkerson. Hello.
What's up? It's so good to be back.
I know, Mr. Face. Missed your face for sure.
I missed everyone's faces.
The band is back together.
Well, I couldn't have missed yours.
Yeah.
I know.
Sorry.
And across from us, J-Tan is back.
What up? What
Good
up?
to see you as well.
Likewise, let's do it.
Excellent singing.
Guys, I really hope this is to the UFC, whoever's watching. Please, new song next week. Really, I don't want to do another 11 episodes of that, which I will do.
It does make me laugh, though. It kind of makes me happy. You're singing. And to your right, our new co-host, Jonathan Meza.
Yes.
Welcome.
Hello everyone at home.
Fresh meat.
Right? I'm ready to go. Let's get some fight talk.
Yeah, I know. You came into the Lion's Den here. You ready?
Yeah, I'm absolutely ready.
He's ready.
What a great choice of words.
No, I guess that's red rum, that finger thing.
Right.
But one of us is Todd Browning, the Freaks.
Yeah.
Excellent horror film. 1932, 31 maybe.
Yeah. Google
There we go.
Good reference.
I have
He's
no
gonna be
idea
all
what's
right.
going on over there.
You're gonna be all right,
It was
buddy.
a great one.
And we're very excited. We're going to be welcoming one of the new additions to the American team. Jason Gonzalez will be joining us shortly via Skype, which is going to be really fun to get his take on.
We're jumping into it right away.
The episode, yeah, absolutely. So let's start out with obviously the coaches. Conor McGregor, fresh off his big win this summer, goes right into coaching this season, and of course against California kid Uriah Faber. Let's get all of your thoughts on these two coaches. I will say really quick, I found it, I don't know if any of you guys watched UFC Tonight last week, I think it was, when they had the coaches on. And it was interesting because Uriah was very hands-on coaching, and Conor expressed. He said he was like, "I was tired, coming off of months of press and traveling and work and the fight.
I was tired. I didn't really care about it. I kind of just had to show up, and there was fights going on. And my suit looks really good, getting those cashing those big checks.
Oh boy!
I actually kind of dug that he was straightforward about the fact that he didn't care about really coaching. Like, he was like, I'm going to be there for all the things I'm supposed to be there for, but I don't really want to coach. I mean, he's not going to be hands-on like Uriah is going to be. It's going to be very different.
I think it would be unfair to cut off right away and assume that he won't be much of a coach. I think it really we will see how it plays out. It almost discredits him off the bat.
But I mean, the thing is, he was very straightforward. He was very blunt with it.
Did you see it?
He was
Yeah, I did see it. I just think that I have my own suspicions about how it plays out. I do think that I think that leads to a kind of gave away a bit of the arc of the season. But that said, I don't want to discredit Conor in terms of what he can offer these guys. And I mean, we saw in the preview to next week's episode, what was the tagline? That the Team Europe is really interested, really fascinated, and impressed by
Really out of shape.
by his unorthodox training method. So I think there's a sense of inspiration there, which is a fundamental part of coaching, obviously. Yeah. So,
right.
Well, that's the beauty with fighting sports and fighting leagues. You get these other team sports. You got to always toe the company line, and this really just brings forth, okay, Uriah, that's his attitude, and Conor, that's his attitude, and you don't have to just, Dana's not, spoon feeding these guys and giving these guys lines. It's, okay, be yourself, and that's the fun part.
And they knew that. I mean, you know what I mean? They knew that. I don't discredit Conor either way, or I don't necessarily have strong feelings one way or the other. People coach differently, and Conor, what he brings to the table is he knows what his strengths are, and that's kind of how I read that interview when he was, read him when he was talking. It was like, his mental strength, and he's going to kind of guide and whatnot, but he's not going to be as hands-on as Uriah.
Yeah, and he did say he was going to be bringing his coaches to the table, which is going to be a big thing for these guys, and, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I think just his presence probably inspires.
And his suits.
And the suits.
And his shoes.
Well, that's the bizarre thing. Uriah's got the flip-flops and the cutoff, and then I think
Very Californian.
that was the one thing I think they said to kind of coach him on. We're going to... Conor likes to dress to the nines, but... and I think they kind of said, Uriah, we want you to be the total, really play up your California.
You think?
I think that's how he is.
That's how
Really?
he
He really is like that. From everything I've seen, yeah.
Yeah, of course. Uriah coached previously on Ultimate Fighter. It was season 15, the live show they did against Dominic Cruz. And I think, I'll say this. I think this season will play out. We'll see bits of a similar arc to, I forget what season it was. I want to say 3 or 4. Tito Ortiz versus Ken Shamrock.
Back.
Tito was... Now, we already know Uriah kind of as a character and a personality and a coach. He's going to, he throws himself into coaching. I think he's going to give the best that he can offer to these guys. And as we've said, Conor, it seems like he's going to be a bit more aloof and kind of play. I think, frankly, he's there to up the ratings of this series in general. Because when this was first announced, it didn't make sense to me why you would pair these two guys up, or why you would put Conor on Ultimate Fighter as a coach.
2 days after he won and did all of that.
Clearly that's that was set prior to that. But I think that now it makes a bit more sense, and that Tough is going to benefit this season from having Conor on. We're going to have the season of Conor, as it were.
For
Conor
sure, brings fans.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
More than the gym owners, the 2 gym owners would. In the last season. This is already a step up. I already forget the gym owners' names.
Glenn Robinson and Dan Lambert.
Glenn and Dan, and it's okay. You're jumping right into it here.
I just flashed to the track race when you said that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, we already have a hint of the coach's challenge here with that.
The watermelon toss.
A watermelon toss.
I can't wait.
It's got to be something tied into this whole cantaloupe thing that they're going on.
That's
and on.
melon head. That was hilarious. By the way,
it's all on purpose.
That is a great segue to my favorite part of the whole premiere was watching Dana's reactions between, because that's his favorite time is between fighters sitting there, and oh my gosh, that was the best. I think I tweeted him too. I think that was my favorite part.
I keep looking at the outfits too. He wore Boston Celtics shirt.
Yeah.
So is that
he's a Boston guy.
I know, but is that also it's very American, but it's also very kind of Irish. So it's kind of both
you
sides.
You are way reading.
He's playing both sides. Yes. He's playing both sides.
That's funny. Do you think that, Jay? You think he's playing?
God, no. That guy is Boston born and bred. He got Southie in the veins.
They so leading into all 16 fights, it's quite a whirlwind of fights.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned, I don't know who it was, I can't remember, I think it was Artem Lobov, saying that the Americans was kind of like the B team. Everybody's pointing here.
No, we were all talking about right before you made it to the studio.
Yes. Yeah. Well, thanks, guys.
Shout out to Prius.
Yeah. Anyway, did you feel that way? Anybody feel that way? That it's that, and I think Faber at the end talks about how it's the bad news bears.
Well, that's kind of
he said we look like the bad news bears. Missing teeth.
Is it the American B team?
Well, I don't think so after watching the initial fights, but it's kind of setting the European team. I know they're all playing head games and everyone's talking smack, but it's kind of setting yourself up to a no-win situation, because now these guys, it's if you're fighting the B team, you guys should sweep them. If you lose, you look terrible now, right? Why would you say that?
I don't think that these guys are any less qualified or younger or lesser experienced, the American side, than in past seasons. you see guys that some of them have been around, some of them not so much so. I mean, the records look all right, although there were some questionable, there's a whole other issue going on with fight promotions and matchmaking and stuff like that. But there's younger guys, there's older guys. Europe is in compared with the two, it's hard to really, I think, summarize the North American or even just the U.S. MMA scene. This is a huge gambit because it's in, I think, all 50 states, I believe. Well, except New York.
Right.
New York.
Still.
Jack
Still.
Yeah. Indian reservations. But in Europe, you've got... Here's the analogy I'm going to make that's going to apply to the whole season, interestingly. You've got 50 states in the U.S.
You do?
With MMA.
Sorry.
And Europe, I'm going to, at least in terms of the MMA universe, I'm going to equate Europe kind of with the U.S. in that you've got a whole series of different countries, all with their own different MMA scenes, some of which are more developed, some of them not so much so. France, we've got at least one, we've got Medji Baghdad from France. Now, granted, he's only from France, not living and training there anymore, but there is no MMA in France, at least to my knowledge.
That's what he said in the episode.
Yeah, the second fight, I think it was third fight. It was the first one.
It was illegal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no MMA there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been like that for a while. It's like the New York of Europe. So, boom! There's analogy number one right there. That plays true. So you're going to have guys coming in with different experience levels in terms of who they've fought in the past, what is the scene in their home country. 3 guys from Sweden. And that scene is coming up. Poland, we've got Marcin Warzek. I know I butchered that.
He's going to have the whole season.
AT&T.
Poland has a bit of a
Sorry.
touche, man.
I was waiting for it
from the last one. Poland's scene has been coming up. There is a fight promotion that has been around for quite a while. So it's a whole mixed bag. And I think now that we know the 16 that are in the house, we can go back and look and kind of gauge. But even then, there's going to be surprises this whole season.
Sure. Well, before Jason joins us, let's talk about maybe 1 or 2 or 3, depending on what your thoughts are, like fights that really stood out for you guys.
The last one of the night was, let's see.
Like this.
That
was Brennan Seven
versus
James Jenkins. Wow,
Right.
that was a slobber knocker.
That
was a slobber knocker.
What a word.
Yeah.
Anyone who pronounces the TH with a D sound, you just got to watch out. It's probably a tough guy. And now with Jenkins, we get him now for the whole show. We get to hear that D sound. It's going to be great.
Oh my gosh. I am fast forwarding.
And his robot girlfriend.
That was fantastic.
Did you like her?
The girlfriend?
Yeah, come on, James. It was just like, but it was like someone just was telling her, like, you have to cheer for your boyfriend. Like, she's like, I don't yell.
Do it again.
Come on, James. And then, like, the camera would stand there a little too long.
They kept going to her for editing purposes, so they could just jump from the next thing to the next shot to the next shot. There's a fight I want to throw at you guys.
Yes.
I don't think anyone was really paying attention to.
Yeah.
And I'm a jiu-jitsu fighter.
Okay.
So this is one that I loved because it was actually Ryan Hall.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was his second
He made the
fight.
house.
Yeah.
Now he got the guy. What was it? Was it like what? We getting an ankle lock?
Heel
It was a heel lock. Heel hook. Thank you. It was incredible because he snatched onto this guy's leg, like locked him up, like figure 4 leg lock, would not let him go.
And Johnny didn't know, like, from the beginning, he had no defense where he's like, I don't know what I'm doing.
He's like, all right, pull on my leg hard
pretty
enough,
fast.
this will work. No, and it was great. This guy knew what he was going to do. He didn't take any hits, really. He got the fight done quickly, which is how you want to do this. I mean, you want to try to survive as long as you can with your physical body because you're going to be fighting every week or after so many weeks.
Jay, did that guy impress you?
Ryan impressed me. Definitely. Tan Lee.
Yeah, I love him.
I hope I got his name right.
Jeez.
Yeah, which has inspired me so much so, guys, that for this season, you no longer need to refer to me as J Tan.
Yeah.
I am now Tan J.
Yeah. Tanjay.
Dropping the Y, just J-A. All right? Tan J is here. Yeah, for as long as he's in the house. Yeah, after that, if he loses, then no.
Yeah, his striking style like excited me to like the level. Well, not quite to the level of like Uriah Hall, if you guys remember a couple seasons back. That was crazy. Yeah. And then his kind of career.
You're gonna see a lot of kicks from.
I remember Uriah during the show. He's He's like, a lot of karate stuff. Like, he just had no way to even explain it. And then,
Kung Fu guy.
Yeah, what a Kung Fu
Who are you talking
guy.
about? Faber?
Yeah, he said that about Ton Lee.
So, yeah, not
okay.
Hall.
Yeah, not
Okay.
Hall.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
I was
sorry.
waiting. Which Uriah here?
Too many.
Uriah Hall.
Yeah,
Okay.
Uriah's and
Uriah Faber, yeah.
I got excited.
Kung Fu guy.
What about you guys? I have to bring this up because it was the most brutal fight, and even I'm not a technician like yourself over there,
I
but
am
even
not
I
either.
watching this fight was like, you need to stop this fight. Austin
Oh,
Springer
no, that was
versus
so hard
Chris
to
Gritzmaker or Gritzmacher.
Another good girlfriend.
I felt for that girlfriend. I felt for the
That was
father.
his
I felt
wife.
for the
That was
yes
his
wife.
Oh, it's a wife.
Look, wait. I was saying the same things that the judges were saying, or that Connor and Uriah was saying.
And Dana, all of them.
Yes, all of them. And I'm not you, Jay. You're the expert. You know what I mean? It was so brutal. What happened? Why didn't they stop it sooner?
I don't know. I mean, he was on the cusp there where I'm sure visually it looked like, from outside the cage, it looked like he was done. And finally, at the point that the referee did stop the match, I said, okay, that's enough.
It was really hard.
But
And you could hear everything. They had everything mic'd, so you could hear.
That's great.
look, the fans that are going to watch the
like
show
that.
and on our show have probably followed us before, and we've talked about how you have a very different view of the fight in the cage as the referee compared to outside the cage. So the referee saw that this guy was still in it, was on the cusp of Tito. I mean, his body language didn't look great, that's for sure. He turned away a couple of times, that, even if he wasn't in trouble, when you turn away, to me, that's even in a lot of times, that's more on the cusp of finishing a match than being on spaghetti legs.
Exactly.
And wobble.
It's like the Roberto Duran, like you can't just you can't just
The
turn.
no mas.
And yeah, I think that should be if you turn it all. If you turn it all more than once, if you do it twice in a row, like okay, you just quit. You're done. I don't think it went on too long. He was still throwing back, and it's a brutal sport. That's just the way it's gonna be.
He did turn. He turned away. He even dropped his body away from the guy, but then he got back up to throw a couple, but then did it again. Like it's just the fact that he kept trying to stay in it was really difficult.
That's the thing. Yeah, it ends up being his undoing.
Yeah.
Did he
I
have
just wish
kids
he would've
too?
Just like tapped.
He said something
know.
about Uriah Faber has said something about that he has a kid. Hi, we're waving to the producers back there. Okay, so we have Jason Gonzalez on the line. We want to welcome him. Jason, can you hear us? Oh, and we can.
Hear me?
There you are. Yes. Hi.
Nice.
Can you hear us?
I was like here for a couple minutes.
Oh, you've been here for a while.
You heard us talking, covering the show.
Yeah.
That's just barely as much as Tim Welch lasted.
I know. Thank you so much for taking time out tonight. I know it's kind of late to join us. We are certainly excited. I know that you were excited for the premiere tonight. Tell us what was your take on this first episode airing? What are your thoughts?
You know what, man? I was watching it, right? And I don't remember getting hit so much like I did. I got hit a lot. I mean, I remember the punches from on the ground. I remember taking those because I was like, damn, I need to get up. I was like, my head was just like, boom, boom. But when I went on stand-up, I kind of figured like, okay, I might have a little bit more on stand-up. That's basically my game. I like the stand-up game. But then I was watching the fight. I'm like, damn. I was like watching it. Boom, he hit me. Boom. You have to see me, right?
Yeah. We're looking all different
We
directions.
can see you. We can see you.
I'm talking to myself.
Looking great.
Yeah. But anyways, like I was seeing him, and I got up, and I was taking so many hits standing up, and I was like, damn, like I don't remember that. Like all that looked bad though. Like I was like, damn, I should have. Like I wish I would have fought a little better than that.
It was a little scary early on, actually. Yeah, that first round, I was a little scared for you.
Yeah,
But,
man. I was like, damn, like.
Once you got up to your feet, you seem to be doing just fine, though.
Yeah, because when I'm in there, I always like to have my adrenaline running and my blood just pumping, because like I feel like that helps me a lot, like and taking punches and like staying strong. But I feel like for this fight, it's just the pressure of the fight. It's just the fact about it being the UFC or the Ultimate Fighter and getting in the house. The pressure just got to me.
Yeah, and
I feel like.
How is it different for you in that venue specifically? Because, I mean, you have a UFC fight, but this is sort of like to make it on the show and sort of in a very different environment.
Definitely, man. You wouldn't think of it. Like, if you don't, like, a lot of people will be like, oh, it's just another fight. He's been doing it for a while. But no, man, like, I've been used to, like, little venue fights and little fights that don't really have much meaning. Like, they don't mean nothing except a W on your record, because I've been doing so many fights where, like, coming up, I'll do fights for, like, a couple $100, so you're not really looking forward to that. But then this fight, like the pressure was just like so much. But I didn't feel it until I was in the back room, and then they shut the doors, and I was getting my hands wrapped, and then as soon as the first fight started, and then you hear one of the producers or the guys that work there, he's like, all right, going in 3, 2, 1, and that's when I was just like, damn, like,
the jitters hit.
Real, man. That's when it hit me, like, boom, dude, you're about to fight. You're on the countdown to fight to get in the house. Like, you're not just doing a little casino venue, no little piece of crap, fight. But I was like, oh my god, like, here we go. I better fucking mentally get prepared. And then I just feel like from that point on, like, everything just went crazy, and in my head I just got too crazy, too aggressive, too wild. And honestly, I wasn't thinking, because like I was saying, like, I don't even remember getting hit that much standing. I remember the bottom well, clearly, but when I was standing, I got hit a lot, and I don't remember that. So it was the pressure definitely got to me, dude. I really think it was the pressure for sure, about being like such a big thing, and it's like the biggest thing I've done in my career, in my life, let alone. So it just sucks that I wasn't ready for that until that last little minutes that I had before I was up. That's when it dawned on me. I wish I would have like mentally prepared for it a little more. Like, I wish I would have been more prepared for the pressure of the fight more than just the fight itself. You know what I mean?
I'm glad you made it through, man. I'm glad you made it through it.
Yeah, definitely. I was happy too, man. Believe me, I was happy I won, but I was disappointed with my performance. I really was. But I was happy I won, dude. I got in the house, I got that W, and at that point, that's what really mattered, So it was definitely a learning experience. But I wish it would have gone better, but it could have gone worse. But yeah, I was happy I got that win.
So who wins who goes to the finals now?
Oh, we're losing you. We're losing you.
No,
What's
we're
good?
No. We can't hear you.
Well done, sir.
my God.
No, can we?
Good
one.
All right, there. Okay,
You
there, I
passed
can tell you
number
now.
one.
I knew that was coming up. I knew that Jay was
Jay
going to
likes
ask
to
it.
test guys, Jason.
Sure.
Yeah, hell of a liver shot that you landed there, dude.
Yeah.
Was it? I'm very curious. It's funny because from our perspective, we're about to launch into this, 3 or 4 month journey with you, and you've lived it already. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff you can't talk about. You were just talking about how the pressure seems kind of to have caught you a bit off guard with this thing. Yeah, but obviously the pressure didn't catch you so off guard that you didn't get in the show, number one, and get into the house.
Yeah, man. Even though the pressure was definitely there, man, like in my head still, like mentally, I was like, I'm not going to lose. Like, that's said and done. I'm not going to lose this fight. If I'm in trouble, I got to find a way to get up and win. I'm going to find a way. And when I was in trouble and on the ground, I ended up finding a way. I was still thinking, like, no, you're going to win. Okay, end of the round, cool. He beat the shit out of you right now, but you're going to come around this, and then you're going to pick it up some way, somehow. And then sure enough, boom, I seen him hit the ground. Like, honestly, it happened so fast that I really didn't remember that kick or that knee to the stomach. Like, I knew I threw a kick, but I don't remember it. And I just remember him going to the ground, and I'm like, oh shit. And I just go right after him and go for the win. But yeah, man, I was happy for it. I'm happy I threw that kick.
Did they give you much insight into how they paired guys up and did the matchmaking for this, for this day?
Nah, I wish they did, but they really didn't. They were, honestly, when you're there, dude, all you're doing is playing the waiting game. That's all you do. You wait, and then they don't tell you anything until it's there, until it's like right in your face.
Yeah, so you don't have much information on your opponent.
Wow.
It's kind of like the amateurs.
What was that?
So it's kind of like the amateur scene here.
Yeah, it really felt like that too, or at least that part. But
Jason, tell me about that day. I know you mentioned to me that was really long. What stands out from that day for you? That whole first day of all the fights and filming.
Talking about fight day?
Yeah, today, like what you just watched, what we just watched tonight. You mentioned to me earlier that it was a really long day, and how you just saw it all cut down. What was that day like for you? What stands out?
Well, yeah, it was crazy. Like I was saying earlier, I was watching the fights, right, and then everything just seemed like, cause I know they cut parts off, but everything just seemed to happen so quick. And when I was on the ground and when I had that triangle and when I was getting hit, it was like it seemed like forever there when I was there. But it happened so fast on TV. But yeah, like when I was there, like since all you're doing since the tryouts, basically since the day of the tryouts to qualify to get in the house, to fight to get in the house, everything's been a waiting game. Like I said, everything's just waiting and waiting. Before fight day, you're waiting like about a week in a hotel.
Wow.
To weigh in. So you're already away from your family. You're already away from home, from your gym and everything, and you're all by yourself. That's the week before that. They take your phone away. They take everything away. You're stuck in the room unless someone is like takes you out or takes you to the little gym they have right there. But yeah, from that day, you're already stuck, and it already seems long. You're just waiting and waiting and waiting, and you wait so long to get into the weigh-ins, and then after that, the weigh-ins finally happen. You get to eat whatever, and that night you're thinking about that night they match you up that night. So that night you're thinking about who you're gonna fight, and you don't know nothing about him, so you don't know what the hell's gonna happen. And then you're waiting on that, and then once you wake up, and then you're waiting fight day. You know, you're resting, you sleep a little late, and then you're waiting to get in the van because you gotta wait for everybody to get in the van, and you're waiting to be loaded. You're waiting to be taken there. Once you get there, you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting your turn to go.
Hurry up and wait. Hurry up and wait.
Waiting and waiting, going crazy, man. And then until finally you're about to fight, or they say the fight start, and that's when I said the pressure came on. I was like, oh wait, I was like getting caught off guard because I was waiting so long that I forgot what I was waiting for until when it finally came, you know. So once it came, I was like, oh shit. But anyways, yeah. So then once I was waiting for my turn, that seemed forever too. And yeah, man, it's just the whole waiting game. That's how a normal fight is, but it's just the fact that there's like a whole tournament and so many people, and like it's such a big thing. Like it takes forever, man, and you wouldn't think about it like if you're not experiencing it yourself, you know. But yeah, and then once I fought, and like I said, like they cut a lot of parts off. I wasn't too happy about that, but at the same time I was, because I know there was more shots, like headshots I took on the ground. So I was like, okay, that's fine. You know, I didn't look that bad.
You're right. You're right.
I was happy and mad about that, but at the same time, it was, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, man, I remember holding that triangle. It was real quick on the show, but when I was there, I held it for a long time, and I honestly thought I had him with that triangle.
It looked good. It looked good. You had it locked in, and you were landing shots on him.
Yeah, man, it was really tight. It really was. And once I had it, because that's a good little thing that I like to do, you know, a triangle, and once I get it, like I know how to finish it. But like I said, man, that pressure, it really got to me, and I was like really impatient, dude. I was so impatient. I was trying to finish it too quick. You know, and you're in a triangle. The first thing a rookie would know, you got to be patient. You have to be patient. It's like I wasn't, and I was a rookie back all over again, you know, because I wasn't pushing at all. And I feel like I wore my legs out, and then I feel like one thing just led to another, but slowly, you know, like a lot slower than what it looked. And yeah, man, it's just I look bad because of that, but.
Really quick,
Yeah.
I have a question. Uriah Faber mentions in tonight's premiere that you were a big guy, and he was wondering if you were going to ever have any problems making weight throughout the season. Is that an issue that you have?
No, it really isn't. I feel like I think the way my body's made, if you get to know me a little better in the future, but I think the way my body's made, I'm like kind of opposite. My legs are a lot slimmer than my upper body. So if I'm wearing like long shorts, you can't tell my legs that much. But I feel like because I'm like a Y. They say I'm like a Y. Like I start from slim, and then I start widening up. I get bigger from the top and slimmer from the bottom. You know
Like a swimmer body.
Huh?
Like a swimmer. Sorry, that's what I do. It's a swimmer, yeah. Yes. Come on.
Is it really? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with that. I'm just gonna go with that.
Alright.
I have a swimmer's body. But anyways, I think because of that, it keeps me light, and because of my diet too, you know, it would help me out. Honestly, to be honest, that cut was really easy. Like really, really easy. The way I do it, I just put the suit on, did my 40-minute run, and then honestly, it just dropped. Like I honestly was pretty surprised like how fast it dropped, but it wasn't an issue, definitely.
Jason, you really stood out, I thought, from a lot of different fighters in this episode, the way that you finished off Tim Welch. You know, it was pretty much the most brutal body shot in the whole episode. But I think maybe one of the bigger stars of the episode was your sister and your girlfriend.
Yes.
And I want to know that, because you said you have to stay away from phones and stay away from your family. How involved did you know that they were going to be before all that happened? Because they were in a big chunk of the episode.
Yeah, well, I knew they were coming to watch. You know, because you kind of gotta they're kind of strict about it, so they only let a certain amount of people come to watch you for that fight. So I knew they were coming to watch. But there was a part where they surprised me in the hotel room that I had to wait before the fight, and they came by, and I was like, oh shit, like where do you guys come from? And they were like surprised. They were there with the big old camera, and I was like, oh fuck, what I do, you know? And I was literally asleep before that. They came knocking on my door, and and they're like, "Oh, Rich is here. You know, we're gonna do a little interview on you." And then the lady was like, "Oh, I forgot my phone." And she goes back outside. I'm like, "Oh, here we go. We're gonna do an interview." So I try to do my hair or something. My hair was like all over the place, dude. I looked like I just woke up.
I'm sure it looked great.
Thanks. But yeah, and then she's like, "Oh, I forgot my phone." So they tricked me. She's like, "I'll be right back, Jason." And then when she came back, she's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna knock." She's opening all natural, and I was like, "Okay, cool." No, I'm not really thinking about it. And then I hear the knock. I open the door and it's them. You know, they're covering the hall so I can't see. And I open the door. I'm like, "Oh shit! Like, how you doing? Like, how's it going?" And I was happy and surprised. You know, I was happy to see him because I was there like alone for like ever, and I was like going crazy by myself. But you know, I was like, "Oh shit!" Like that surprised me.
It must have meant a lot to have them there. Did it mean a lot?
Oh, definitely, man. My sister and my girlfriend, they've been there since day one. Like, they've like been through it all as much as I have too. Like, I brought them with me. All the struggles, all the crazy stuff I've been through the journey. They've been there and they stuck with me. So it really did mean a lot, man. Yeah, I was happy, man. I was definitely happy.
Well, I've got an odd question about that then. Did you ever, strange thing, in the middle of a fight, if you know your girlfriend's out there watching and you get hit, do you ever have a moment like, "Oh man, she just saw me get hit in the head"?
A lot of people ask me that. Honestly, no, dude. Like, I really don't care. Like, I've been able to kind of like trick my mind in the past fights where like it doesn't matter who's watching me or who comes to watch me. Like, I'm gonna ignore everybody, you know, and I'm just like try as hard as I can to just focus myself to the guy. That's all I'm thinking about, the guy and the fight, and that's it, you know. And just I have so much blood and adrenaline running through me that I'm not thinking about I'm getting hit. I hope my girl didn't see that. Like, I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking, fuck this. Like, he hit me, boom, he hit me again. Like, I'm just thinking like, get the hell out of there. Like, I'm not thinking about them until after like today. Like, I was watching with my girl now, and I was like, oh, it's just like I was putting her eyes. You didn't see that? It was bad. I was like, damn. And then in the start, I say, what do I say? I say, yeah, you're gonna see the best Jason, you know, because I'm thinking I'm feeling great. I feel like I've been training like crazy. And she looks at me like, I wish I could say that. But I was like, I know. I got hit a lot, but whatever.
I always wonder from the opposite. Like, we'll stay on this for one more. The question is, you know, because they had a lot of family in the crowd, you know, for certain fighters. And I always wonder the opposite. If you see someone else's kids or wife or, you know, parents in the crowd, does that ever get to you, or have you ever heard of another fighter saying that it got to them?
You know what, dude? It's crazy to say that because I've always thought this too, and a couple of the fighters, they'll agree with me. You're a lot more, I feel like when I see my teammates or even my brother when I watch some of his fights, I feel like when you're not in the cage, you get way more nervous, like so much more nervous than you're actually in there. Because I've seen some teammates and my brother, I've seen them fight, and I feel like I got so shaky and nervous. Like, it's like an uncontrollable nervous because you can't do nothing about it. You can't do anything about it. So I do feel that. I know, like, when my sister says she's nervous, or when somebody that's watching me says that they're nervous, my girl or my dad, I know what they feel because I've been there. But when you're in there, you're not thinking much about it. The fighter's not thinking about that. But with a person watching, yeah, it's like, it's a nerve wreck. It really is. And even that'll come from a lot of fighters. Like, it's so nerve wracking because you're just watching. You're basically watching. You're helplessly watching. And there's nothing you can do about it. You know. So the person in the cage, yeah, they're gonna get nervous. Like, you always get the butterflies when you're gonna fight, you know. But at the same time, you have all that adrenaline running, all that blood pumping, and everything, and you have like experience and whatever. So that kind of like brushes off after like the first few punches. But yeah, when you're out there sitting, you get nervous, man, and it sucks. Like, I don't like it. I hate watching like my teammates and my brother watch. It's like, it's nerve wracking, and I'm just there like, come on, like, do this,
it's understandable.
Do that, don't do that. You know, you're helpless. You can't do nothing.
Yeah, I always hear that from athletes. It's always, as an athlete, it's just always harder to watch versus be in there physically, doing whatever sport you're in.
He made it in there.
It's crazy to say.
They're out of control.
From a fighter, coming from someone that does that, it's crazy to say, but it's true though, man. It's true.
And when you're in there, though, it's like he said, he has more control over it when he's in there. When you're out, you have no control.
Yeah.
And outside, there's not somebody trying to punch you in the face, but there is in the cage. That's kind of a more immediate thing.
Yeah, to focus on. Jason, so tonight was your first time seeing the episode as we watched it live as well. You know, do any of the fights, or who really stood out for you in watching it, but perhaps you might have seen more than obviously what we were privy to see tonight on tonight's episode. Was there anything notable that maybe we didn't see in these fights that you remember?
Honestly,
I think that's a no.
It really summed it up.
Who stood out for you?
It just broke it down. It just summed it up for the winners, basically. I do remember seeing like some parts where like the guys that lost, they did have like some good hits or some other takedowns that they didn't show. But for the winner, they just summed it up, and then they broke it down pretty good and just showed how he won. And it played good. And to be honest though, like after the fight, I was chilling with my sister and my girlfriend, and I was just pretty happy that I won. So I was just like thinking about my fight. So I wasn't paying too much attention to the other fights. But,
Got it.
That makes sense.
Which I know I should have. I should have paid more attention, especially the European. But like I said, my head was just all over the place. Like after the big relief and all that waiting and stuff, like I'm just like,
right.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Relax.
Well, let's talk about your coach, Uriah Faber. What was it like working with him? Tell us some of the things that you learned from him.
Oh man, it was awesome, dude. Like he showed me a lot of stuff, like the wrestling stuff that seemed pretty useful. And then that's saying a lot coming from me because I don't have much of a wrestling background, and I'm not a fan of wrestling. Like I do work on it, like I do work on my defenses and all that. But he started showing a lot of good stuff that I was like, hey, I kind of like this. Like it works for me, especially that I'm tall. You wouldn't see me shooting so much, which I know you saw me shooting on my fight. But we can go back to that later. Anyways, but yeah, I wouldn't shoot or anything, so he showed a lot of good stuff that was pretty helpful for me and like my leverage because of my height and everything. And I was happy with the stuff he was teaching, and I was happy with the assistants that he brought, the coaches. They were all cool. They showed a lot of good stuff, and they were all fun, man. I was so happy that they weren't like strict ass people, and like I watched some of the episodes like where like some of the coaches are so strict and like they yell at you or something, and it's like no fun, But these guys, they knew how to have fun, but they knew how to like get to business when you had to get to business, basically.
Was it his cool. Alpha male team that coached for the season? His assistant staff?
Yeah, there's a couple of guys from Alpha male, like the guys you saw in the corner at the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, Lance Palmer was there, Fabio, and a couple of the guys were there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I want to know what you worked on, because you said earlier tonight that you liked stand up, but looking at your record before you came in here, you had 6 submissions and 3 TKOs. And you're a taller fighter, so I would think you would like to strike from a distance and use your reach. But you do have more submissions.
I know, right? You would think. I'm telling you, you would think I would love to use my reach. But yeah, like I do feel more comfortable on stand up. But the wrestling, not so much. Like I wouldn't go for a shot. Like I normally wouldn't go for a shot. I wouldn't do none of that. But I do work on my defenses, and then if I'm on the ground, I do feel comfortable on the ground. I do make sure I work on the ground, because a lot of these guys, they see my legs or they see my height and they all want to shoot. Like they always want to shoot at me.
Yeah, you're a taller fighter, of course,
that's
right?
another thing that didn't show too. The guy shooting in on me and then I stuffed that takedown, or I got away from that takedown at least. But that's another thing they cut off. For the record, just throw that out there, But anyways, yeah, like a lot of the submissions, they normally came from the guy taking me down. And then I had to learn in the past that these guys are gonna just want to take me down, and then a lot of my fights, that's what happened. They took me down, so then I had to learn to get a good ground game, and I feel like I did, and I feel comfortable on the ground, and or at least on my past fights, and yeah, those submissions came from that. Basically, it didn't come from like me shooting or anything. It was just from them shooting, and then I was just prepared for it, basically.
Jason, what's your background? You said that you didn't have much of a wrestling background, but what did you bring into the house? Obviously, you're going to get a lot of that curriculum with the alpha male guys and Uriah kind of to supplement what you've got. But where did the whole journey start for you?
The whole journey started in my backyard, man. Basically, growing up with my brother, I mean, we were always into watching the whole MMA stuff or the boxing stuff, and like we own like any kind of like fighting game, like Mortal Kombat.
Nice.
Huh?
That's awesome, man. I hope to see a fatality in the next.
Shut up! Jeez!
We do not want to see that.
I meant like Mortal Kombat. I meant like Mortal Kombat. Please continue.
I'm telling you, we used to play when it first came out on a Sega and a Nintendo, Super Nintendo, or whichever one. It was Sega mostly. when it came out, me and my sister, my brother, a couple of my cousins, we used to play that. And then growing up more, we had more games, and then we had like Dragon Ball Z was like one of my main top cartoons that I would watch. I would love to watch that, and it's all a fighting game if you're like familiar with it. It's a lot about a fighting cartoon. I mean, and then that, and then growing up also, I was never the type to get in a fight or start a problem or confront somebody about getting into a fight or if they were talking smack or something. I was always a quiet kid on the side with my couple of friends, which is minding my business basically. And then a lot of middle school and some of high school, like I would get picked on, just being like the tall, lanky guy and the quiet guy. It kind of made me a target somehow. Like I was never like an intimidating looking person, but just the fact that I was tall, one of the bullies or something would be like, I'm gonna take this guy because he's tall, and they knew I wasn't gonna do nothing. Basically, I was the type to avoid a fight. If I could avoid a fight, I was just somehow. I see the guy coming, I'll walk this way. I'll walk to the other corner or something.
Wow.
Like, I was that kind of guy. I really was, And if you want to put it in other words, that's fine. I'm not gonna say it, but yeah, I was that. I would avoid fights.
Nah, man, I think it's the right thing to do. Like,
no, and this is how honestly, this is how like it started. It really started with the whole like me actually doing something about it. Like it came to a point to where like, okay, I can only avoid fighting so long, and I can only get out of this for so long, and then one day I'm gonna get cornered, I'm gonna be stuck or something, And I'm just thinking like, what's gonna happen if I actually have to fight? Like, what's gonna happen if like I can't? There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to turn. So then one day, me and my brother got to talking, and we would always talk about this every time something like that happened. And then it started growing and growing. And my brother, he would love to look up stuff on the internet, and he started looking stuff up on YouTube or whatever the internet had at that time. We look up stuff like Vito Belfort, like how to throw a punch, how to throw this, how to throw a kick. And my brother was like really good at studying all that. So he would learn it, and I would watch it with him too. And then we would go in the backyard and just try it. And then teach, like from whatever we saw, we would go in the backyard and just like try to do what he did. And then from there started growing. And we went from, we had a like hockey gear, ice hockey gear. Because growing up, we played that too. It was ice hockey. We didn't make like big shot teams or anything, but like we liked it though. We did a little scrimmages and stuff. So we owned the gear and stuff. So what we would do, we would put on the hockey gloves on our fists and wear the hockey helmets. And those hockey helmets, they have like the cages on the face.
Sure, yeah.
So you put it on, you strap it like right here, you strap them here, and you strap the chin here. So you close it, and then you have a helmet, right? And then we would put those on and go in the backyard and just boom, boom, pound on each other. Try to practice everything we learned. We call it our sparring. That was our sparring. Only because we were still coming up on that, and we didn't want to mess up, like hit our faces so hard.
Oh my God.
So that was like a little.
You gotta have video of that.
Tell me you filmed it.
Do you have video of it?
I have a video of that, but I gotta find it. But I know I do somewhere. I haven't thrown that away.
Next time when we have you back, you'll have to bring it.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna find that for sure. But I've been wanting to see it too because my brother just came back recently. He's been living in Texas, so he just came back, and I told him we were talking about that. And I was like, dude, I'm gonna find that video.
You should just like when when he comes into your room one day, be holding like the face mask and the pads, and just go outside, man, relive it.
This time, I think I'll go for a takedown. I'll just shoot in with it.
I have a quick question because it's been talked about so much, the difference in coaching styles between, and we're at week 1 and we're already discussing this so much, but Conor, being a little bit more, not as hands-on as Uriah. Did you see much of that? Did you hear things amongst the fighters? What's your take?
No, a lot of the fighters didn't mention that from the European team. And we really couldn't see too much of that, only because we had different schedules. Like the Europeans had different schedule from the Team America. So we would go in first, train, come back, and then when we came back, they would be like already getting their training started, So it'll go back and forth like that. So we never really caught them at the gym. But at the fights, you kind of did see something to where Faber's fighter, he would have all his assistants in the corner. I mean, not Faber, Conor, excuse me. Conor's fighter, he'll have all his assistants in the corner, and then Conor would just be sitting on the sideline watching with all the rest of the team. And then we always thought, like, how come Faber is there on our side in the corner, but Conor's over here? Like, I don't get that. Like, how come he's doing that? And then we started seeing a lot of that, and then basically we never see him in the corner, like the actual corner, like telling the fighters like what to do and stuff. How you would normally see someone in a fight with their coaches. But that we have I have heard that a lot on TV or like on Facebook and stuff like that. He's not that great of a coach, or like not a good coach because they wouldn't he wouldn't participate as much. But I don't know, man. To be honest, I don't really know exactly what his training method was and all that, so I couldn't really tell you that. That's like all I can tell you, that he was on the sideline, and we would question that. We would be like, why? What's up with that? Like, we don't get that.
Who do you dislike on the European team? Give me a name.
Come on,
There you go.
What was that?
Who do you dislike on the European team? I'm already starting to pick a few names who I dislike from the first episode, and I'll have a running list throughout the season.
Nobody was like talking shit. Maybe someone that lost, but in the house.
Who didn't do the dishes?
Yeah.
What was the dishes in kitchen beef like?
Who did or didn't?
Who did not?
Who's the slob?
That's Franz.
Franz Leon.
He knows it. Everybody told him, like, Franz doesn't do dishes. But it didn't get to a point to where, like, it was gonna get like aggressive or anything about it. It was funny to me. It's like he doesn't do his dishes, and to me, I'm like, well, why would he? You know, I did my dishes at first. I would wash my dishes before I used it if everything was dirty, and I would wash it after I used it. But then I stopped washing it after I used it, only because it turned into a mess, and that you'll see later in the season. And then it's like, why would I wash my plate if I'm basically washing it for them? You know what I mean? So I wasn't mad at it. It's funny. It's hilarious. Yeah, Franz was the guy that didn't wash dishes. So I don't blame him. I'm on his side. I'm totally on his side.
The nitty-gritty of it. Well, we all want to thank you for taking time tonight to join us and talk to us about Week 1 and the premiere, and congratulations on making Team America.
Thank you.
We're looking forward to watching this season.
Talking with you again, hopefully.
Yeah, we're gonna have you in studio.
Yeah, definitely. I'll come down. Just like this thing was kind of like a last minute thing. I wasn't really like ready for it, so I was like, oh shit, like yeah, I'll do it.
Nice.
Yeah, we will plan, and we will have you in here. Thank you so much.
Oh, definitely. Thanks for talking to me. Thanks to you guys. I couldn't really meet you guys, so I don't know who I'm talking to. I saw somebody there.
That's okay.
I'm Suri Serano.
You saw.
I was like, hey, what's up? And he's like,
thank you. Thanks, Jason. We'll talk to you later.
all right, thank you guys. Take care. Have a good night.
Bye.
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 That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Who do you guys dislike from the first episode?
I love it. Who do you
I love
dislike?
Conor McGregor.
Who do you not like?
For real?
You know what? I should preface it as he was talking. It occurred to me there's going to be unfair strikes thrown against Conor about his coaching style.
Sure,
but realistically, we got to take a step back. Conor is not a coach. Uriah has been coaching for a long time. He coached a season previously.
He owns a gym.
He owns a gym. I'm sure he has seen, I'm sure wrestling as well. When you come up in wrestling for as long as Uriah has, there are times that you coach the younger kids, you know, whether he was in college or after that. So he's got much more of an experience with that than Conor does. It's understandable. But
and
that
he's
said, I'm going to throw him under the
Conor
bus.
is in his 20s. You know, there's very different stages in life.
Couldn't tell by the head of hair, though.
Conor could be an amazing coach in 15,
very fair point.
15 years or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're just different stages. But
I hated Tom.
Yeah, who did?
Tom Galecchio.
Who you don't like?
That's
Tom
right.
What is it?
Tom Galecchio from Team Quest.
Why did you like him?
Galecchio. Well, I'm a big pro wrestling fan. So right off the bat in his interview, he's like, "Oh, I think he's from Iowa," and he said, "You know where real wrestling is." So he already took a shot at professional wrestling.
He's not wrong.
I'd like to see him in the pro wrestling
Tom
ring.
Tom Galecchio would murder Seth Rollins. He would murder Roman Reigns.
I'm guaranteeing right now.
John Cena. He would smear the mat with John Cena.
Hold on a minute.
Isn't John?
I'm saying
Triple H?
John huge though?
He's a big dude.
Tom Galecchio got his ass.
I saw more guys get winded tonight after 2.5 minutes. I'd like to see him do a 60-minute Broadway with Ric Flair at 67 years old.
Well, that match will suck for sure because it can't work. But I guarantee you, Tom Galecchio will put Triple H to sleep.
Oh, I buy that. But I'm just saying, whenever someone says real wrestling,
you can't knock it.
Put Tom through the same schedule these guys do, and he's out the door. There's no way he can even hang.
Well, I don't know if he's getting paid well enough. I'm sure anyone will find it in them to hang.
But I'm choosing someone to hate.
Was there somebody else? Or that's your man?
Tom was funny.
I'm going to call it right now that the guy that you hate is totally going to change in the next few weeks.
He's going to love this guy.
Maybe.
Yeah, he's going to have that softening on him.
He's going to look.
Hi, Tom. Love ya.
Tom had a great funny moment early on when he said, I'm like water.
I don't know what that means.
He said it.
I was staring at the TV and I was like, did I just hear that correctly? I don't know what that
Give me
means.
Tom Lee any day. I love that guy's vibe. He had such a cool vibe. Like, you could be I love trash talkers, but I also love guys who don't talk smack at all. And he was like, and he said nothing but anything good about his opponent. It was all good, positive vibes. And I loved his like stoic dad in the crowd, just like, that's my son. And just like, I used to fight. It just felt like a movie or something. It was cool.
I just hope we don't see him go up against the ground guy, because otherwise that's gonna be a proverbial boner killer.
Yeah.
If he gets muted on the ground,
Jay said it.
Proverbially speaking.
First boner.
I'm excited. Yeah. I'm really excited for the coaches this season. I'm excited for this season. They did tease a surprise that each coach is probably going to bring back
one guy.
I didn't understand. Oh, was it the coaches, not the...
I think it's the coaches that get to pick. If Dana said, if you could bring back one guy and you, Connor, could bring back one guy, who would it be?
Glenn Robinson.
So that will be fun. I would gander that Connor would bring his teamate back, but that's just my 2 cents there.
Well, the guy who has as many losses as he does wins.
Yeah, he does. He's 11-11 now.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's gonna be it's gonna be a fun one.
It's occurring to me that, again, Europe isn't known for its wrestling for the most part, and neither is Conor McGregor, clearly. Shout out to Chad Mendez. But you've got Uriah and Chad in that team. I really wonder, as I think about it, how much... It'll be an interesting thing to watch the kind of the arc of the matches. How much of them are really the American team are wrestling based. How much they become simply wrestling matches and battles for control. Or will the Europeans? The flip side is the Europeans can possibly learn that, or maybe wrestling is more advanced. Wrestling for MMA in Europe is more advanced than we would think. Than we think right now. That hasn't been the case historically,
and we didn't see a ton of it out of the Europeans.
Right? No, you're going to see a lot of I would say Dutch and European kickboxing style for the stand up, that is, but. When you know what your weaknesses are, you work on them. Yep. And this has been something that's been established for a long time in Europe. So, we could very well be surprised.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get some surprises this season. We
the watermelon, all kinds of stuff.
Watermelon.
That's not a surprise. We know
but we don't know what's going to happen once it hits the target.
Oh my gosh, you guys! I love these guys. I'm excited for the next 10 weeks.
I don't know.
Thank you all.
One of them bounces.
That's the thing.
Okay. We got to wrap this up. We're going to be here for a while. Thank you all for watching and tuning in for our first episode of The Ultimate Fighter. We look forward to seeing you every week. Thank you, Jay, Jonathan, and Jared. Where can everybody find you, Jay?
I am still all over the internet, JTan716. But that Ashley Madison is not my account. Doesn't count. No, not true.
But Ton J, you'll find out. Ashley
Madison. You should get that.
We're going downhill for here fast.
You can find me at Kaibacat, KAIBACAT, Kaibacat.
All right,
Instagram, whole shebangs.
I'm going to get the story on that later.
At Gilkerson Radio on Twitter.
And I'm at Suri Serano on Instagram, Periscope, Twitter, Facebook. We will see you next week. Thanks for joining us.
Later.
Yeah. From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Veggie bag. See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.